The air we breathe can be very dirty, and especially in cities. Over 90% of the urban population lives in areas with air quality that doesn't meet the WHO standards. But what is the role of urban construction in this story? Of course, we live in cities for good reasons. They provide economic opportunities, many amenities, bustling social lives, and are just fun to be in. But supporting all these conveniences isn't easy. As populations are rising around the world, cities are desperately trying to keep up with housing demand. While nitrogen emissions are too high, the Netherlands is also facing a housing crisis. National government is rapidly trying to increase the housing stock with new construction. The goal is to build 52,000 new houses in Amsterdam alone by 2025. Little research has gone into the effect of activities on a construction site on local air quality. We teamed up with MIT's Senseable City Lab to investigate the air pollution around construction sites in Amsterdam. Together, we researched the state of air pollution and sensing in the Netherlands. We talked to a lot of interesting people in these fields, attended conferences and interviewed 18 stakeholders from the municipality, the GGD, knowledge institutes and the construction sector. One of the experts we talked to is Sascha Stolp. Sascha is the Director of Innovation for the Future-Proof Assets Program of the City of Amsterdam. In this role, she works hard to create a climate-resilient and future-proof Amsterdam.
Een toekomstbestendige stad is een stad die zich aanpast aan eigenlijk steeds snellere veranderingen die in potentie disruptief zijn als je niet mee gaat bewegen.
We asked her whether construction was an important focus point for Amsterdam in terms of sustainability and got a resounding yes.
Ja, want de bouw is in zichzelf heel vervuilend. Het gebruikt 50% van alle grondstoffen ter wereld, stoot uit mijn hoofd 40% van alle emissies uit en gebruikt 30 of 35% van alle energie. Met andere woorden, de bouw is gewoon een grote klapper. Als je daar circulair wordt, emissieloos en energie-neutraal, dan maakt het echt het verschil.
So the construction sector is important in the process of future-proofing Amsterdam. We would like to play a role in uncovering the relation between local air quality and construction. To get us started, we talked to Bas Meijling, an air quality researcher from the Royal Dutch Meteorological Institute. He knows about the importance of air quality monitoring like no one else.
De luchtkwaliteit in Nederland is goed. Het is beter in ieder geval dan een jaar of 10 geleden. Maar hij is nog steeds slecht. Als je gaat kijken, zeker naar de nieuwe WHO-normen, er wordt steeds meer bekend wat de schoudereffecten zijn van luchtkwaliteit. Vandaar dat die richtlijnen steeds strenger worden. En we kunnen op dit moment net voldoen aan de Europese richtlijnen die eigenlijk al een beetje outdated zijn. Heel noodzakelijk om betere luchtkwaliteit bij bouwwerkzaamheden in de gaten te houden. Er wordt op heel weinig plekken in de stad gemeten, omdat die luchtkwaliteitsmonitoring lastig en duur is. Dus die staan per definitie niet naast nieuwe bouwwerkzaamheden. Dus wat daar precies gebeurt, dat is vaak een groot vraagteken. Dus het is zeer belangrijk om dat beter in kaart te krijgen.
The research gap we identified is confirmed by the experts. So we set out to map construction sites' air pollution using cheap and accessible sensing methods. Introducing MIT's City Scanner. This low-cost sensor platform can be built for around $400. It measures some of the most important air pollutants, like particulate matter and nitrogen dioxide. Time to get our hands dirty. The application of these sensors on a construction site required some modifications, and we got to work. The first challenge we encountered? The American sensors weren't charging on the European power grid, but nothing a little electrical engineering wizardry can't fix. We found a construction site to collaborate with in the southeast of Amsterdam. Here, site manager Edwin explains what they're doing on site.
We bevinden ons nu op een bouwplaats in Amsterdam Zuidoost. Het is een bouwplaats waar we bezig zijn om een 2-laags parkeergarage te bouwen. Daarboven 6-laags commerciële ruimte. En daarboven ook nog eens 2 woontorens met in totaal 592 appartementen. Dus een redelijk omvangrijk project.
Edwin allowed us to measure air quality around his site. He was very supportive of scientific research, but also just personally interested. In a co-creation session, we sat down with Edwin and MIT researchers to discuss different methodologies for placing and using the sensors on his site. We started to be quite hopeful of the success of our project. Everything seemed to be smooth sailing. Deployment day. The excitement was palpable. After months of research, we were finally going to start collecting empirical data. The weather might have been windy and grey, but our spirits were high. But of course, collecting empirical data is never as easy as it seems. We spent a lot of time troubleshooting the sensors, so at this point we needed everything to go right. But when has everything in the Living Lab project ever gone completely right?
So, 3 hurdles. Hurdle number 1, it's very humid in Amsterdam in November, and the high humidity really messes with the readings from our cheap sensors. The second hurdle is that it's also very cloudy in Amsterdam in November. And 2 of our 4 sensors had to run on solar panels, and so most of the time their battery was actually empty. And then the third hurdle, calibration, that's a big thing. An expert will give you some more info on that in a minute, but basically it comes down to the fact that our cheap sensors have to be compared with research-grade, expensive sensors for a bit, so that we can correct any biases that they have.
And this turned out to be a bit of a challenge. After exhausting all of our options in Amsterdam and Utrecht without success, we ended up having to go to Schiedam to place our sensors next to a calibration station at the DCMR.
So we are here at the DCMR monitoring station in Schiedam, in the outskirts of Rotterdam, and so this is one of the regulatory monitoring stations for the city and port of Rotterdam.
Okay. We have put our sensors on the roof and we're comparing our measurements against the measurements of this station. Why do we need to do that?
So the benefit of being here with the low-cost sensors is that we have co-located measurements of PM from your city scanner measurements and then the regulated, validated measurements. So by comparing those on the both 10-second and hourly time base, you'll be able to calibrate the low-cost sensor to a primary standard, which will give you confidence in the accuracy of the measurements that you're making.
After calibration, we started crunching the numbers, our work still in progress. But we already shared some results with our stakeholders. Talking to them about air quality measurements, we took home some important lessons.
Je moet het zoveel mogelijk doen, zodat je ook wetenschappelijk bewijs verzamelt waarom iets werkt. Kijk, en dat is niet alleen beleid in Amsterdam. Dan zou het eigenlijk mooi zijn om het beleid in Europa veranderen. Want als je het daar doet, dan past de hele uitvoeringsketen zich daar naartoe aan.
In a research manual we produced for MIT and the construction sector, we advised this as well.
Kijken vanaf het begin van de werkzaamheden tot aan de oplevering zou je eigenlijk zo'n experiment door moeten zetten. Want pas dan zie je wat echt de meest vervuilende bijdrage was. En dat zou ik ook graag willen weten.
We created this research manual because there's a large need for scaling up this research. Although we expect our numerical results to have suffered from the practical hurdles, our quantitative analysis and our experiences were still very valuable to our stakeholders.
Maar ik hoop wel dat zij laten zien dat er een verschil is tussen gescholen machines en minder schone machines. En dat het ook wel een goede stap zal zijn richting een schonere bouwplaats, dat veiliger is voor de werknemers, maar ook voor de mensen die in de bouwplaats heen over het wonen en werken. Dus ja, ik hoop wel dat dat duidelijk beeld gaat geven voor zo'n toekomst.
We hope so too, Edwin. We hope so too.